we have much to be grateful for. Now, continuing the theme of gratitude in the face of totalitarianism, Eddie Mair met a man called Edward Cordery on PM on Thursday. Edward was part of the Arctic convoys that served during the Second World War. The convoy celebrates its 70th anniversary this year. 4 million tons of supplies were sent by the Allies to Russia. 104 merchant vessels and 16 military ships were lost in the process.
I had 4 brothers who were all in the army and didn't care too much for it. And I didn't consider myself as a RAF man, so I volunteered for the Navy. And I was quite happy to go along with what they threw at me.
When did it dawn on you that you were part of this extreme cold?
When I got up there, we were sent on a convoy duties to Iceland, and we used to wait in Iceland and wait for the convoy to come through from Canada and America through the Straits. And we just would put ourselves south of them as they went north to Murmansk, so that any invading force coming from Norway or wherever would have to encounter us first. And of course, the further you got north, the colder it got. And believe me, it was cold.
How cold was it?
Well, at times it was about 50 below when you got right up in Spitsbergen and Bear Island.
That's hard to imagine. What's that like to be in?
Awful. Having said that, I'll give the Navy credit for this. They gave us some extremely good clothing. Obviously, it was in their interest because if you were not fit or cold, you weren't a fighting unit. Really lovely sea boots, which were very, very good when the waves were washing inboard and all over the deck, because most of my duties were on the upper deck. You could never really get away from the cold unless you found somewhere on the lee side of the ship where you could sort of hide yourself and listen to the wind going past you, but you couldn't stop there long. It was just a brief spell.
What about the spray?
The spray was terrible. As soon as it hit the ship, it froze. If it hit you, it froze. All my beard was frozen, my nostrils were frozen. As you breathed, the nostrils froze. You just lived with it, but you never got used to it. You just put up with it. But what I did find, and anybody would say the same, any duties you had to perform during that sort of weather and conditions were very, very heavy because you never had the energy. You were wrapped up. You weren't flexible enough to do things quickly, so that it took time. All those things contributed to a hard life, if I may say.
It sounds hellish.
It was. Believe you me, I'm not exaggerating. Murmansk is a very, very dull, uninteresting, terrible place. I don't know how the Russians lived there, but by golly, weren't we pleased to get into there and dock.
I bet, you couldn't take your gloves off.
No. If you took your gloves off, you know what would happen. You hit metal or touch metal and all your skin would leave there. And then, of course, once again, you're out of action with that sort of injury. But, see, working with gloves and that, it's not a thing that comes easily. Have you ever done gardening with gloves on? Things become that much more difficult.
But you'd no
choice.
choice.
It takes more time, you see. I used to hate getting right up in the north in the winter. It was virtually dark all the time. And that could be discouraging. There was nowhere to take your attention. If it was daylight in the summer, the northern lights, absolutely magnificent. One of the blessings of being on that convoy was seeing the northern lights. They were absolutely beautiful. Every time you saw them, they were different. I really enjoyed those, but I didn't enjoy much else.
That interview was very popular with listeners who were